Okay. So welcome to the show. As always, you guys, I am your host, Prince Marcel, and this is View of the Kingdom. And we have a very, very special guest in the building. He is a top industry actor, known as Matt Bats Bradford.
Yeah, Martin Bats Bradford, man.
Martin Bats Bradford. There we
Yeah.
go. There we go. No, man, you know for a few things. We've known each other as far as being like social media mutuals for a few years. And I seen a few of your clips, and it was funny knowing you and not connecting. I'm watching you on TV. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'm like, wait a minute. You put the clip up on last days of Bartholomew Gray. That's gonna be the core of our subject. But I was like, hold on, I know, dude, because I know you was back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? So I definitely had to get you to come on the show to talk about that experience. But I also want to start from the beginning, like your beginning. How did you get into acting? You know what I'm saying? And where did that inspiration come from?
Well, like I'm one of those kids. I'm a kid from New Orleans, and I just always
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do it. You feel me? I don't know. Like my earliest memories, I'm like 4 or 5 years old, and I'm seeing like school plays, I'm seeing church plays, and you know how they say the act, the bug bites you, whatever your passion gonna be. You feel me? Especially as an artist.
Yeah.
So as a little kid, I was like, I want to be an actor. So then I'm getting in church plays and school plays and such. And luckily, I had a grandmother. Like one thing I say about the church, wherever you wherever you fall on religion, the black church I will say is a good place to develop artists because they won't boo
Mm-hmm.
your ass. If you if you you
For
feel me?
sure.
If you're a little
For
kid,
sure.
you learn how to act, you learn how to sing, you learn how to dance. You could be sucking, but they're gonna be like, yeah, go ahead, child, you got it. You feel me? They
You
go,
got it.
come on, some of the best singers are from the church. So like, yeah, so my grandma was one of those old women that was like, involved in everything. She over this program, she over that program. And she had this thing about her, even before I wanted to be an actor, she was like, because I was mainly raised by my grandparents. She's like, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
raising no inarticulate black man. I'm not gonna raise no black man that can't speak. You feel me? So her whole thing was already
Okay.
she would put me in front like audiences and have me read off or something, whatever it is, because she wanted me to be very acclimated at speaking in front of people. You dig? So
Hmm.
that turned into I want to act. And that turned into whenever she give me these pages, I'm memorizing them instead of, just reading. Now I'm adding my flair instead of just
Yeah.
reading. Now I'm in all of the church plays. Now I'm
Yeah.
in all the school plays. I'm in elementary school writing my own skits. And then my teachers in elementary even like, you write skits. I'm like, can we do them? So then I'm in like elementary directing skits in my in my classes because my teachers is just like, yeah, do the damn thing. So that just carried on to middle school and high school and into college. And I majored in mass communications. I minored in theater all through college. I'm in all the plays. I'm in the lead in a lot of plays or whatever. So I was just always that kid that wanted to do it. It was always a dream. You feel me? Then when I graduated from college, I went to Dillard University in New Orleans, HBCU. Shout out.
Okay.
Um,
Shout out to
you feel me?
HCU.
Let's go.
That's up.
I hit the ground hard with like play because at the industry, the Hollywood industry, the film industry is mysterious. Like no
Mm-hmm.
one really tells you how to get in or what you got to do. Like you could be like, I want to do
Yeah.
this, but there's no guide. You can Google it. Well, they might have more now, but 15, 20, 30 years ago, however, how many years ago when I'm growing up, we
Yeah.
had no way to know. You feel me? So
Nah.
when I graduated college, I hit the local scene and luckily Facebook have like Facebook groups and such at the time was a thing.
Yeah.
So you could Google like Black Theater New Orleans or just Google certain things and there's usually a group for it. So I found these Facebook groups that would point me in the direction to plays that were happening in the city. So I'm in plays like crazy. I'm just in plays and plays and plays and still trying to figure out how do you get
For
on
free?
TV. Say what?
Were you doing the plays for free?
At first, and then I started getting paid for them. You feel me? But
Mm.
my first, when I first, the first couple, yeah, it was freebies. It was freebies. But then after a while, I started finding out, oh, you ain't get paid buku money, but you get paid something. And as a kid
Yeah.
coming out of college, man, I needed, I needed you guys
You
to
need
little
that
something. You
bread.
feel me?
Yeah.
You dig? And
Yeah.
that's part of the local play scene, bro. Like that's yeah. So I'm grinding, I'm grinding. You dig? And people would always say, bro, you're so good, bro. You should have an agent. Bro, you should have an agent, but ain't nobody recommending or referring or helping me get this agent. They just telling me I got the talent to. So I remember I was in this one
Yeah.
play called Porgy. And this woman, her name was Shonda Kental. She played. I was the bad guy in the play, but I'm the bad guy trying to shoot my shot at her. She the lead, and I'm trying to mess up her relationship with Porgy, basically. So she was like one of the people saying, "Bro, you should have an agent." And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And people always saying that. She's like, well, I refer you to mine. Word. Oh, that's what's up. You feel me? So she referred me to
Yeah.
her agent, and then I went on the agent's website, and I'm looking at his roster of people because with an agent in the game, an agent is trying to accumulate a roster of actors, and then they send those
Okay.
roster of actors. When you get an agent, that's basically somebody stamping you, being like, oh no, they're official. So that's why
Okay.
you need an agent to be on the agent. It's almost like a coach putting against a football team because now that you're official, they send you out to casting directors. And then the casting director look at your information, look at your picture and such. And then the casting director's like, oh, I got a movie role that he'll fit good for us. So that's how the process goes. Agent to casting director to producer, and your audition goes from there. So that's why if you don't have an agent, it's almost impossible to get in the game fully. Now there
Okay.
are ways. I know people that get in the game and their websites these days because the game has altered. But back then,
Yeah.
hell no. You feel me?
Okay.
So I'm on the website and I'm looking at his roster and I see a friend of mine from college that like we didn't go to the same college, my dude Jaron, but we used to compete in like these college acting competitions with each other, and that's how we
Okay.
became
So
like
your rival, sort of. You know what I'm saying? Your
my
friendly
friendly
rival.
rival. Yeah, I mean my friendly rival. Because the thing is, he wanted them cats. Jaron Mitchell, shout out. He wanted them cats that anybody meets him, he's like the friendliest guy you have. You can't hate this guy. Like he's one of those spirits. It's
Yeah.
like if I wanted to hate you, uh, you too
Yeah.
cool.
Can't do it. Yeah, can't
I
do it.
can't do it. So we always was cool. You feel me? So when I saw him on the roster, I reached out. I was like, yo, I just got referred to. I'm waiting on the hit back. I just got referred to your agent. As soon as he heard, he's like, word, I'm gonna put a word in for you too. So now I got two people on the same roster telling the same agent, fuck, rock with him. So
Yeah.
they reached out. We had a meeting, had an audition with him, and the rest was history. They took me on, and then it was the grind of hoping one of these auditions stick. Feel
Mhm.
me?
I said this recently too. I had put a video out. I said it's better to have $1 million network than $1 million because that's what's gonna get you to your success in my mind more often than not. You know what I'm saying? Because it's somebody that's gonna be your sponsor, somebody's gonna be the person that vouches for you. Because if they have their ear, they're more inclined to listen to you no matter what your resume is, because they're getting referred to somebody they trust. You feel me?
Right.
So I think that
A lot
that's
of
real
times people
powerful.
say it's about who you know, but it's really about who know you.
Yep. Yep. No, for sure. Um, man. So with your acting career, and it's not nothing to shy at. When I say I seen your accolades from the websites, Hitman, the Winchesters. I was a big Supernatural fan. Women of the Movement. You was
Let's
on
go,
Venom.
Sam and Dean. Me too. Keep going.
You know what I'm saying? No, we gotta keep going. You was on Tales of the Hood too, which is the Black Cinema, Free State, The Oath, which to me was underrated. That was executively produced by 50 Cent.
Yeah.
That was a way underrated show.
Whoa, you know about the oath?
Boy, what? I was trying to get on, bro. I was trying to get on Power. Like I was a big for those, I'm big on entrepreneurship, not just knowledge itself. But how do we use that from a historical standpoint to say it's not impossible for us to get success? Like, whoa. So I studied 50 beyond just his music, like how he operated with Power. And I got his book or the audio version, the 50 of Law of Power. When I just started to watch him, I went to Invest Fest. So he was at Invest Fest last year. For those who know about Invest Fest, is a big, not just you, but for the viewers, that Invest Fest is a big entrepreneurial and like wealth summit. Anything from stocks to business to like that whole nine, Pinky Cole, anybody that was probably black that you could think of that's like in that realm of business, they're there. 50 Cent was there last year along with like Damon John. But going back to that, his transition into being a powerhouse in media
Mm-hmm.
and what he tackles. Like I told people, I said, power is the 50, not 50 of law, but the 48 laws of power. That's what power is. It's the 48 laws of power. And they was like, what? I'm like, no, like really pay attention and go read the book. It's the 48 laws of power.
It is.
And then he did the oath. And I said he was strong to even put his name on the oath because it's about something that not a lot of people talk about. The How do I put this? The sort of gang or affiliate version of policing,
Mm-hmm.
right? The loyal to the blue to where things can get smurred in you being a righteous human being. So now when I seen you on that, I was like, okay.
Bro, that's the thing about the oath. Like, that's one of those slept. Like, we could get into about Ptolemy later. The oath was
Yeah.
slept on because of the platform that was on. Because I remember when I got cast in the oath, when I saw it was produced by 50 Cent. I'm a huge Power fan, huge 50 Cent fan in that way. You know what I'm saying? And we shot that joint in Puerto Rico. Now, what I found out, yeah, they flew out to Puerto Rico, son. So what
Wow.
I found out was like 50 had a couple of shows in Puerto Rico he was shooting that's basically was his training grounds to know what to do when we're dealing with Power, which was on, Star was on a bigger network. This was supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
one of those flagship shows on Sony Crackle. Sony was trying to have its own streaming app. So
Yeah.
Sony Crackle was supposed to have Sony, and 50 was giving them material they was hoping it would catch on. The people who watch Sony Crackle like the shows, but nobody freaking got Sony Crackle. This is at the booming when all these different apps are coming out and stuff, and Sony just didn't have nothing that could really like click. So I would like I said, whenever anybody knows, and I think the oath is on Tubi now, so I think people are starting to catch it. But like,
Yeah.
bro, for years that was like one of my hidden, like, because people saw I had pictures with 50 Cent and shit. It was like, you was on Power. I was like, nah, I was on this show he shot called The Oath, but it's like on somewhere. You feel me?
Yeah, you couldn't even tell her what it
I would say
was.
Sony Crackle,
But
and they'd be
no,
like,
it's the
"What's that?"
truth.
Like Sony Crackle did not crack, bro.
Yeah.
Like people did not know about it,
That, that
like
Sony
at
Crackle
all.
did not crack.
So like a
For
friend of mine
sure.
recently tagged me, and it was like they watching The Oath, and that's when they told me, "I see it's on Tubi now." And I was like, "Oh, that's what's up. Come on, Tubi, get some out of it."
Yeah, I think they market. I think what it is, and us as like creators and just being in the professions. Because I recently started acting too, and I did that to improve me as a vocalist because I'm a speaker as a profession. So it was just a way for me to practice lines and just how you write keynotes and stuff like that. And I think they didn't market it that this is going to be a top tier app and that these are the people who are producing it and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people lose their viral moment. They 15 minutes if you don't market it right. You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
that's exactly what happened. I think Sony half-assed they rollout with it, and it never caught on after that.
Yeah, no,
Because there are a
man.
lot of apps that catch on later, but they didn't see it out.
Same with the show. Last Days of Bartholomew Gray. That
Ptolemy
came
is
out
his
on
man name.
Ptolemy. See, I
Ptolemy
can't
Gray.
do it. Ptolemy. I
But
call
yeah,
him
no, it's
Mr. Gray.
exactly what happened with that show, bro. Like it was supposed to be one of Apple TV's rollout shows, but when Apple TV first dropped, nobody was checking for Apple TV. You feel me? So it was like it was timing. That's why it's beautiful. Like this is like maybe a year, maybe 2 years after we shot it, that it's finally getting this just due. Because I say Samuel Jackson, he ate on the acting tip, bro. I would be watching this dude and all like, damn, there's a legend. There he is. Feel me? So
And
yeah,
you have a
it's just
moment with the
interesting.
legend in the show.
Say what?
You had a moment, your own individual scene, what I'm saying, with the legend in the show. And as an actor, and I'm pretty sure you watched him growing up, what I'm saying, to an extent. What was that like being on the show with him, rehearsing your lines with him in those moments, and everybody else, because there was other greats on that show too.
Yeah, man. Like, yeah, shouts out to Dominique Fishback. Shouts out to Duran. Uh but with Samuel Jackson, again, he a legend, bro. I grew up like we all grew up watching this man. Like he's part of our, he's part of us. You know what I mean? Certain
Yeah,
people is just I don't know a world without him or Denzel. Certain people just don't know a world without them. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So when I first got booked in the role, and when I first saw he was attached, I was like, wait, I'm auditioning for a Samuel Jackson series? What? You feel me? So I was already bucked from jump. So then when I got the role, and he's one of the producers on there, so it was even cool to know
Okay.
that he's one of the reasons I was on the show. That's the thing too. I found out later, like, yeah, he helped pick who got what. So I'm on there because he was fucking with me before I even met him, type shit.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
You
bro, that
never
was
know who
real.
watching. You
You
never know
never
who
know who
watching.
watching, or you never know who's gonna be impressed. Because again, he might have never seen me in life until my audition tape. But again, he's helping, and he's not only picking the director as
Yeah.
well, of course, but he's part of that process. So I'm already excited, honestly. And then like how scripts change. Our
Mhm.
original I was on 5 or 6 episodes, but like stuff changed. But there's this one scene in particular where it's just me and him. Like most of our scenes was like me, him, and Dominique. So there's that one
Mhm.
scene with me and him, and that scene was at first longer. Like so when I
Oh
first read
wow.
how that scene went, I was like, oh shit, me and him about to cook. You heard me? And the sequel it was still cool, but like the original scene was like 2 pages. We having a back and forth, way more information happening. Then we go to some other place and we press this other it was me and him on a little mission. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
bro. So then
okay.
when they changed it, I was like, damn. Like they
Right, because you
shortened it
get
like
your
ever.
moment to shine. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? Because again, any moments with him on camera is just I'm grateful. Period.
yeah.
Just being put
Mhm.
on, just even getting cast in the show, like I'm grateful because all of them were names that was on that show. Like the main cast is all known motherfuckers. I'm
Yeah.
like I'm been grinding for years, but like in the game, that like the people like it's a maybe 5% of motherfuckers that's famous. You know what I'm saying? And I often talk about how a black actor's journey is much different than our counterparts. A lot of times, most of our favorite
Okay.
actors don't pop until they're in their 40s. Like don't pop to the mainstream. They might become black famous in their 30s, and then they do some fire in their 40s, and then they pop to everybody else. But then they like you just did with me. Then you go on their resume, and you like, well, damn, this person been cooking for since
Cooking,
1990. Like
shorty.
what? Why ain't it like? And that's just the
Cooking.
journey of the actor, man. Like you
Yeah.
just keep grinding, you keep grinding, you keep grinding. You feel me? So to even be like to just be peers with them at that time, I was excited. So to do the scene with him, one thing about him and one thing about that scene, by the time we did that scene, we already had a rapport because we had like that's one of the like maybe the second to last episode. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
at that
You was
point,
on the
we already
series,
was
bro.
kicking it.
It's only 6 episodes, and so you know what I'm saying. You there? You
We
know what I'm
there. We
saying?
already got a vibe. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
was just like, I wasn't even really nervous. I just wasn't because again, we had already done these group scenes. Because really, my first scene with him was on the first episode when I gotta get the chicken for him or whatever. So
Hmm.
like by the time I done, because and that still was a one-on-one scene, like it's in a group, but he talking to
Yeah.
Dominique. Dominique get
Hmm.
annoyed with him and she leave. Then it's just me and him running it. So for me, that was the icebreaker for me with him. Like we did that scene together, and I remember the first time we did it. Um, I'm supposed to be he asked me to get him some chicken thighs. And
Hmm.
I think they thought we was doing a practice shot. So they didn't put chicken thighs and they don't have breasts. So we having our conversation in character, whoop de woo. And then like, like it's time for the chicken. I go for the chicken. I don't see no thighs. And I come from theater. In theater, if something ain't there, you just make it work. You feel me? So I just kept going. I went for a breast. He's like, I said thighs, man. Where the thighs at? He stayed in character.
Yeah,
Where my
yeah,
fucking thighs? Now I was like, Mr.
yeah.
Crazy, they must have didn't bring the thighs out, man. All they have is breasts. Well, I said I want some motherfucking thighs. Hey, and then he cut. He was, he cut the scene over there, and it was just funny. Like I expect him to do that. I thought he go just like roll with the breast, because again, whatever. No, this man was like, no, we gonna have what we gonna have. So at that moment, from that moment on, it was just always cool. Because one thing about
Hmm.
him is very personable, very approachable. He ain't
Okay.
like you hear about some actors that you can't walk up to or you can't no. He'll talk to anybody if he ain't busy. Like if he learn his lines or something, give him space. But like if he's just chilling, I've seen it was so many times I'll be chilling on set and somebody with like even smaller role to like walk up to him and be like, hey, he'll talk to him, ask for a picture.
Hmm.
Like if he in his makeup, he wasn't gonna take no pictures because he didn't want spoil nothing. But if he wasn't in
Yeah.
makeup, if he was just chilling normal, you take a picture with you, bro. He is cool as hell.
Okay.
He still DMs me shit to this day,
Oh
bro.
man, that's beautiful, man. That's a high honor. So cause so for me, the way I got into acting, I was doing my influencing around the city, and I got approached from one of the influencers that does a local series on Tubi. He has the movies out on Tubi's, and then the series he's gonna put out this year about my city. And he was like, "Hey, bro, do you still want to doing a role?" And I know when I came in, I would ask him for like the what's the part about, what am I doing, what roles am I playing. So when you were reading the script and you got the outline for like what this show is going to be about, when you got all the information, what did you think about it as far as this? Okay, what messages is going to breathe to the people, to my people? Because it was more than just him, Mr. Gray, and the Alzheimer's and dementia disease. Like there was so many layers to the. I saw my family in this entire show.
Definitely.
The good, the bad, the ugly, scamming these. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
what was
yeah.
that like for you when you read it?
All right. So I only had the first episode when we started, and cause the show is based off a book called The Last Days of Ptolemy Gray, and um, I remember reading the first script, and I was blown away. I was like, wait, this is what this is about. Because the first episode hits you like it hits you. The first ep, and a lot of people that have seen it, they'll tell me the comments. It's like, bro, I was crying all throughout that show, man. Like, because a lot of
Uh,
people see, like you said, their family, and it was very honest and it was very real. So I remember when I read the play, when I read the screenplay, when I saw what it was about, I was just inspired, and I just sat for a second. I had to read it again. You feel me? And
yeah.
I was just honored to be a part of it. And I remember in the process, I was up for two different roles. I was up for Billy, who I wound up playing, and I was up for the bad guy, the guy that wound up killing his,
Oh, really? Okay,
I,
definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was up for both of
Reggie.
those.
Yeah.
And I had a call back for both of those. I mean, even the director asked me which way are you leaning? You know what I mean? Which, is there one that you like more than the other? And in my career, I played a lot of near do wells, and I have no problem playing the bad guy, but I played a lot of bad guys. I've died a lot. I've shot a lot of motherfuckers. You hear me? So just just
Yeah.
having the opportunity to play just a regular dude,
Hmm.
I just wanted to do that, because even after we shot the whole series, the executive producer, she came up to me and she was like, man, one thing I enjoy about your character is he's just a non-toxic, positive black man. And I just
Black
love
man.
having that representation of he ain't up to no schemes. He really has like a brotherly relationship with Dominique. He just there to help, Ptolemy. Great, like he just was there. He had no ulterior motives. We just presented, and I remember when me and the first director were talking, he was saying the same thing. He was like, bro, like, because we had the decision to have me wear glasses, and I was like, yeah, I won't mind wearing glasses, but my whole thing is, he's not gonna be no nerd. He ain't gonna be no square. He gonna just be a cool
Yeah.
dude. He ain't gonna be no
Yeah.
gangster, but I just
Yeah.
want to be a dude, a regular
Solid.
dude. And
Yeah.
that was the part that I was happy to just bring to the table of, like, in the hood, they got, because I hate when people talk about the hood and they act like everybody is gangsters. Everybody is about to rob you. You go in the hood, it's like the worst of the worst. Oh, this shit only like hood inners. Like, bro, hood is just where you are. There's nurses in the hood. There's freaking teachers in the
Yep.
hood. There's like regular dudes in the hood. Even the hoodest of the hood niggas that you think gonna rob you is probably inside watching anime and shit, bro. Like, you
Swear to
like,
God.
bro.
Swear to
Anybody that
God.
really grew up in the hood know that there's so many levels and layers to the hood that I hate when it's just depicted in this one way. So just being able to be this cool dude that, own a boxing thing that's just there to help the
Mm-hmm.
community, that drew me like heavily to the whole role. And then again, the overarching subject matter, because like you said, like my grandmother had dementia and Alzheimer's. You know what I'm saying? So
Mine too.
again, this is very much personal in the family, in the
Yeah.
black family.
Yeah.
So I was all like, I often say this, even if I wasn't in this show, I would watch this show, because it's just
Yes.
it hit those
Yes.
all those points.
I tried my best to when it first came out. Number one, because it was Samuel. I was like, oh, I'm watching this GP. But when I saw the storyline and what it detailed, for me, it was personal. Same with you. My grandmother had Alzheimer's, and when she had it, my my mom's and everybody else was like, she getting old. They never explained to me that your grandmother has a actual disease to where she's deteriorating and she's forgetting her thoughts, herself, and how to motor function. Like no one's talking to me like there's a way that we have to deal with her. They keep just saying she's getting old. And when I seen this show, it made me I had cyber regrets because if I would have knew it in this manner, the way that the show lets you understand what's happening to him, I would have treated my grandmother a lot like Reggie. A lot like
Real,
Reggie.
real,
You know
real,
what I'm
real.
saying?
And I understand that guilt to a degree, because I remember when my grandmother got it, and I was kind of messed up because, like I said, my grandmother raised me. So my grandmother was one of those busybody people. She was always on the go, always moving. She retired 3 times. She kept going back. She just like very much in her faculties type person. Like, so it was jarring to watch her that deteriorate. And then like that happened at a point because um Katrina happened, and then my grandparents moved to Texas because they were afraid that if another storm came to New Orleans, they would be too old and be immobile, so they would want to get ahead of it. So all my family left New Orleans. I was the only person that stayed in New Orleans. So the
Wow.
she started deteriorating in Texas. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm,
I'm not even like I'm getting there when I can get there, but like I'm still like struggling college student at the time, so I'm not being able to see her like I want to see
mhm.
her. So in the time, and
Yeah.
what was cool was this though, her mind was still there for my first couple of TV shows. So she got to see me on TV. You feel me?
Okay.
And that I was like, yo, that's what's up. You feel me? So
Yeah.
and she got to mess with me about it. Like it was still early when I started booking roles on TV. But like before she died, like I was so angry that I couldn't be closer because they moved us to some home in some podunk part of Texas, and it was just a lot going on. So like I was already dealing with my own guilt of not being able to be physically as present as I wanted to be for the woman that, like,
Yeah,
that was basically raised me. And then I get this role and I'm seeing what this is, and I'm like, man, yeah.
yeah,
And just
man.
watching Samuel portray that, that shit was rough at times.
Yeah, man.
And then
It
the way
was
he was
real.
treated, like there was,
Like he
bro.
wasn't a person. And I'm talking about he was intelligent, like he had bro. You feel me? And even the backstory of um when he got his memory back through the doctor, the scene with the doctor where they try to tell you, like, yeah, you have to be aware of their two-sided means to, even though this may be a cure for you, there's a horrible downfall and there's a horrible risk when we take on these medicines, right? And even with the family feud, the niece trying to steal the money, and I was like, bro, all these things I literally have gone through in my life with my family. You know what I'm saying? It was just, yeah, it was a lot. It's a lot, bro.
It was a lot, bro.
It's a lot, bro. So sometimes you just gotta tell black folks, like, you gotta watch it to understand. Like, I can't. Sometimes it's hard to explain. Um, seeing Kojo get hung. And the things that our grandparents, literally, my
Literally
grandfather,
lived through.
literally, you feel me? Like, I remember my granddaddy told me when he came up from Georgia and he came to Chicago. My grandma came from Arkansas, and he was like, me and grandma had to get out of town because the white people, they was just on suspect. They was harsh. So we hitchhiked and we came up here
Damn.
and
Hitchhike, nigga. Damn.
hitchhike, nigga,
You
hitchhike.
feel
You
me?
hear me?
Like, that's
Like,
intense, bro.
bro, and I was like, what? And that's why I started to cherish the things I did find out about them and who they were. And I think that we as a people need to do that when it comes to our elders. Don't think that their life is just over and done with and that they're taking up space. No, they're still useful. Our elders can still give us value. They can still teach us a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? The truth about who we supposed to be, not who we think we are.
I regret
Oh,
not interviewing both my grandparents before they passed. You know what I'm saying? Because
mm,
with all
yeah,
those like days, because again, like that's one of those reasons, not even to get too political. That's one of those reasons why I think
yeah,
about it. They got all those people that's still in seats in the House and the Senate and shit that was alive since Jim Crow. I'm like, yo,
yeah.
70, 80-year-old, 90-year-old white ass need to not be in them seats because you came from a world that no, I don't think you should be making
And you
decisions.
30. You
Bro,
30 at this time thinking the way you thinking. Ain't no, you ain't 10.
you out
You
here
know what
being
I'm
racist. You hear me?
saying?
So
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like,
saying.
but like just to see, like just to hear stories. What was your particular story type? You know, what I mean, I wish I like how because these days, we have the opportunities that we all have cameras, we all have
Yeah.
these ways of doing it. I wish that before they passed, when they both had their faculties, I would have just been like, "What's your story? Just tell me your whole story." Like you hear
You know what I'm
different things
saying?
over the years, but like just to
Yeah.
let them spit it, there's always something that you can uncover that's gonna be lost to the wind.
Yeah, yeah. And that's valuable because depending upon how you view and learn your parents, it impacts the family structure. You know what I'm saying? You become, for instance, right, as a Griffin, you know what I'm saying, or Bradford, like, you hold your last name in higher regard, and you guys come together more often than not because of the people who came before you and how they conducted themselves. You know what I'm saying? So knowing that about your parents, your grandparents, and back then is very very important. And I think for all of us, for real. But I think that's why when you have series like this and a show I shout out like them is very very important. And what you learn from acting. But so here's what I want to ask you though. What, and especially like for the youth, because I actually ran into I mentor out here in Chicago. Um, And one of my mentees, he was like, "Yeah, I was thinking about getting acting." I was like, "What?" I got excited. I got geeked. I'm like, "Yeah, you want to get an acting? I ain't bet." You know what I'm saying? Come holler at me. You know what I'm saying? Even with my
Yeah,
experience, what I could tell you and show you, how to learn your lines, how to develop the character. So what would you tell a youngin Now, with the industry the way it is, if they wanted to get into acting, what tips would you give as a veteran?
I would tell them to get trained, whether that means going to school for it or whether that means there's always some, like, actors, acting coaches in your area that you can see, like, okay, when do you do training sessions, or do you do one-on-ones? These days people do virtual sessions. I would heavily say you got to get trained. You got to get trained. A lot of us try to just coast off our natural charisma and stuff, but as you move up in the industry, you will be tested in a way, range wise, that at times you can't just think it's just gonna be me. No, you got to learn some shit. You feel me? So I would
Mm-hmm.
say, again, whether you go to school for it or you just seek out acting coaches, you got to get trained. Again, there's levels to it. I came up through theater, and I feel like what Denzel Washington said, you learn how to act on a stage. Like,
Yes,
if,
sir.
if you if you want to be famous, that's movies. You want to be rich, that's TV. You want to be good, that's theater. And you, as an actress, you want to encompass, you want all three. I don't want to just be
Yeah,
one. I want to be on TV. I
yeah.
want to be on film. I want to be on theater, on stages. And I'm a theater kid, so I have a bias towards theater. Now, theater acting and TV film acting aren't the same kind of acting. And that's a whole
Mm,
other thing. You feel me? That's two different. In some ways, they're like two disciplines in the same craft. But
mhm.
if you keep it real, keep it honest, you should be able, to learn what you need to learn from the theater and
Mhm.
transpose it in a good way to film. Now we talk about being on TV and film and such. You need an agent. That's what we were talking about earlier. And to get an
Right.
agent these days, you need material, because they have to see that they got to see what they're getting into. Because again,
Yeah.
it's like not a student. I was just explaining this to, because I teach acting for high schoolers and elementary kids. That's my day
Oh,
job when I'm
thank
not
you.
on set. And
Right.
one of my high schoolers, like, and we just got a new semester, so they just still getting to know me. I'm getting to know them. And one thing I tell them, I was like, and I'm in the industry, like, you can ask me anything. So one cat was asking me, how does it go? And I was having the same conversation, and so he was like, so it's like, when if you're trying to get on a college football team, if you're trying to get on pros, they got to get tape. I was like, yeah, my little dude, yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
show them some tape. You feel me?
Yep.
So whether you get that by you and your friends shooting your own skits and short films, whether here's the one that a lot of people don't know. Most colleges have film departments, and most film students need actors to be in their films, their student films, especially if you're talking about ones going for their thesis. If you're talking about like the master's department, they need actors to do their final film. And a lot of times they hire out. They don't just use, for whatever reason, and this is something I don't understand, like, the film department and the theater department in a lot of colleges are separate. So the theater kids just be doing theater, and the film kids just be doing film. And I'm like, y'all should intertwine them, because the theater kids is gonna need this film shit. And I mean, in the
Right.
film,
Right.
motherfuckers need to learn how to direct theater people. So it's like, dog, this, like, I'm more than sure there's some schools who do this, but they're the minority. Because I've asked
Mm,
around, and even in my own college, I was like, why? What the hell? That makes no sense. And as
yeah.
especially if you get in college, as if you're in college for acting, you need to leave that school with some footage of yourself. And the agents don't care about theater footage. That's a part about theater that, like I say, theater makes you better, but it's not gonna really help you as much in TV and film. Like, some agents, they might respect that. Oh, they got a theater background, so they may give you a second look because they know, okay, he
As a
probably got some
profession.
chops.
Yeah.
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 But as far as on tape, they don't care about theater tape, because, like, recording theater is a weird thing to watch back. They want to see film tape. You feel me?
Okay.
So with the angles and the close-ups, they want to see how you basically work a camera and what you look like on
Work on
camera.
camera. Yeah.
You feel
Mm-hmm.
me? Because how you act on stage won't be like on stage. You have to be bigger. You got to be louder. You might be even more ultra expressive and stuff. On the film, they just want you in that box. So they gotta see that you can act for film and camera. So that's what I'm saying. Hit up like these film classes and courses and be like, hey, because some of them in New Orleans, they put up notices. They be like, they got websites like actorsaccess.com. Actorsaccess.com is a website that it's a hub. If you have an agent, it's where your agent, there's a separate version of this site for agents where they get their stuff from producers and the casting directors.
Mm-hmm.
And then you often have to go on this website to, put in your auditions. That's how your agent sends you auditions. You go on that site. Oh, this is my audition, this is my breakdown. Then you upload your video onto that site. And that's that side of it. But also, when you don't have an agent, That's why I said there's actors out here that are getting on that site because they also have postings for non-union people and for people who don't have agents. So you can go on actorsaccess.com and look at what's in your area and see if you could put yourself into, because sometimes it's like short films on there, sometimes it's college films on there, sometimes it's just non-union films. That's like, look, if it's non-union, they can't use SAG actors, so they'll just use some motherfucker that send them a tape. And if they like your tape, you can get footage. Because again, until you
Yeah.
get an agent, you're trying to get at least 3 scenes, some footage that you could show, hey, this is what I do. And that's how, then you can start competing. So from after you get some footage on yourself, then I would look up the agencies, the talent agencies, the actor agencies in my area, in my city, in my state, what have you. And the easy way, and you can Google this, or with some on imdb.com earlier. On
Yeah.
imdb.com, if you register for, it's like $20 a month. All of us, to keep your imdb.com there, you got to pay the $20 a month. But when you go to IMDb Pro, that's why you pay $20 a month to go to IMDb Pro. On there is a ways, like you could just type in any agency area there, and they'll show you all the agencies in your area. But that's for the pro side of that. So once I had, if I was a young actor coming up and I didn't work and I got some footage, I made it's called an actor reel. If I got a reel and I got some footage, I got some experience, etc., I would go on imdb.com and see which agencies have, go to their websites, because they'll let you know if they have open submissions, or if there's specific times when they're doing submissions, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you can explore from there. At that point, it's the grind of whether you can get it that way or whether you can get referred. You might have a friend that's an actor. Like when I talk about these acting coaches, a lot of times they do these seminars. A lot of times
Yeah.
a lot of times you do those coaches be knowing motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
And
sir.
and
That
the
that
people
door.
in and the people that go take those courses be knowing the fuckers. So that's the networking of it. Where if you start taking these courses, you meet this acting coach who might just really rock with you, and they be like, "Oh, let me refer you to such and such." Or you can ask the acting coach
Mm-hmm.
there, like, "Do you have somebody you can refer me to?" Like, that's when the networking comes into play. At that point, because there's no map to this game. There's no map. I've seen people get on without agents and blow up. I've seen people be in the game for 20 years with an agent and nobody knows their name. I've seen people that been in the game for 3 years and then they like you. There's no map that for any. I'm telling you, like a basic way, but there's always anomalies. There's always other ways in. You know what I mean? And at a point, that's your job as the actor, as the artist, to research and figure out the ways that you can get in. Because again, you're not really fully in the game until you can get an agent. And then even after you have an agent, there's another level of the game, which is becoming SAG. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the union. And then there's another element of the
Yeah.
game, depending upon where you are. Um, I can go on and on, brother.
Yeah, it's a lot because I had this challenge, right? So I came into the game. I was a content creator who loved the message that I was trying to reveal called social media. And I said, well, how do I take this so I don't get stuck on the internet and turn this into a business or turn this into something I can make my career? So I said, I'm gonna become a speaker. Now, what I seen content creators do in that same fashion was we were the new piece of entertainment, right?
That's what's happening.
That
Yeah, and that's
you
still
know what I'm
being figured
saying?
out right now.
Still being figured out because a lot of them either go into the comedian or they go into the actor because of the skits, right? And I had challenged because I understand like when you actually in the profession of like, no, I went to acting school, I'm an actual actor. And I ran into some at this social event. I was like, well, I starred in the show, X, Y, and Z. I'm becoming an actor. And they looked at me, what I'm saying, giving an eye like, that's what you say. But I was like, well, no, it's the truth. So for me, I do think number one, everybody write all these tips down because these are amazing tips that you're getting from a top tier person. Um, what would you say in regards to once you've gotten all the experience outside of getting the agent and learning about SAG? When did you get to the point to where you could do your chat with thing? When the reason why I called it chat with thing was pick the role that you wanted to play versus when you talked about earlier. I played a lot of bad guys. You know what I'm saying?
I'm still not there. Like it's levels because again, there is no map, right? So even if you was to look at my resume, dude, like my first role ever was American Horror Story, Coven. And that was my first televised role, American Horror Story cover. And I was on episode 11 of that season. And people always talking about they liked that season. Whatever. I worked with Kathy Bates. Kathy Bates is one of the best actresses in television.
Hey, hold up. Oh no, did you freeze? I think you froze. Hold on, bro. Try to come out and come back in, cause you just froze. I don't know why you froze on your end. Well, he's be back, and he's going to spread some more knowledge, man. We're getting so much information, so many jewels. It's an honor to have him on the show, and I'm learning a lot. You know, being coming in as a new actor, being on the at least top five show that represents my city. What I started to learn about SAG, um, the ins and outs of working with top tier networks, due dates, and sponsorships. There's so much avenues, and like you said, because there was no real map when I attached the title actor to one of my repertoires, because it's not what I officially do. What I officially do is I'm a professional speaker who tailors entrepreneurship and financial literacy along with historical relevance. I got into acting because it was a way that I seen I could tailor, find, or even pitch roles to depict all the things that I would do lectures about, right? So, um, until they come back, I'll tell you. For instance, right? I play landlord Malik, and since I believe the other season, or at least the last episode is out, I can tell you this now officially. In the season, and I'll be on recurring season 4. Landlord Malik is a landlord. He's in real estate. So now, when I tailor this and have a conversation even to actors, one of the questions I would pose as I did improv acting, and then I would say, why did Lambo Malik, when he's at a building, he has real estate, he owns property, he has tenants, he got a bankroll coming in for real. When you learn about these actual avenues, when we're telling this to real life, why would this man make this decision to implement himself in criminal activity? Hello,
Yeah,
we good? Okay, bet.
yeah.
Uh, Now, continue. What did you do for that? You were
Oh no, I was
talking
talking
about
about how so I'm on there with Kathy Bates and
yeah.
American Horror Story Kathy Bates, and she made the process so smooth because she just treated me like a peer. You know what I mean? And like yeah, I remember we ran our first scene, and she could tell I had been trained before, and that made me feel good. She was like, "You've been trained, haven't you?" I was like, "Yeah, I went to college for this." She was like, "I can tell." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay, yeah, let's go." You hear me? So
Let's
like we
go.
just had a vibe, and I remember there was even a point on American Horror Story where they had to change something in the script, and her and the director were discussing because like something she was supposed to hit me in a certain way that she said didn't make sense to her, and they trying to figure out how to fix this for it to make sense. And she was like, "Yo, Martin, what do you think we should do?" And I'm like, "You asking me?" You feel me? But I gave her something, but it was the
Yeah.
fact that this is my first gig, and you're treating me like your peer. You feel me? So
She respected
I
your
remember like so
opinion.
that's
Yeah.
the first gig. This next gig after that is this independent film called Nola Circus, and I was one of the leads. So this is when I'm first starting. I don't know if it's much experience, but I'm like that went from a one scene with Kathy Bates. Now my very next thing, I'm a lead on this indie movie, and the way they was talking, this making, I'm thinking, oh, this indie movie about to blow up. I'm about to da 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 da. It didn't blow up. You feel me? Then right after that, I would
Okay.
go to doing like a two-liner in something else. Then I'm in something else where I'm a recurring character. I want to be in a recurring character on NCIS New Orleans. That was cool. Then I wound up like, it's like my career kept like, if you watch it, like all my roles is like I'll do something big, then I'll do something kind of mid, then I'll do something kind of big, then I'll do something kind of
Yeah.
small. Then
I,
it's all over the place, and you
it,
can't really tell. So
it,
to get to a point where it's like there's certain roles that I'm at a position where, and then I got to a position at one point where I could turn down roles if I wanted to, but financially it wouldn't make sense because again, and also
mhm,
career wise it wouldn't make sense because again, there's levels to this. Like to get to that level where you just like you just choosing whatever you want, you already set in a certain way where that's a privilege. You know what I'm saying? Jaman Hansu just did an interview. Jaman Hansu did an interview recently where he was saying he's still struggling as an actor. And this man been in Marvel movies. He was on
Blood
Amistad. He
Diamond,
was,
Marvel,
come on. And
Spartacus.
this man talking
You
about
hear
at
me?
his stage of the game, he's still struggling to maintain because this game ain't what people think it is. So there's certain that like if it goes against my integrity as a person, of course I'm not gonna do it. But
Mhm, mhm.
I haven't gotten to a place where, and again, yeah, I haven't gotten to a place where I'm just gonna just turn down everything. Now,
Yeah, we good. I
I'm
see
still
you.
here.
Yeah, you still there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta call. My bad. But like one thing that's beautiful is this. It's okay. First, I want to speak about typecasting.
Mhm.
Typecasting has a bad rep because people need to understand that when you're first starting out, you need to be typecast.
Okay.
Like, because really, what typecasting is a casting director. They have all these roles, and every actor thinks that they can play every role in existence. When it's really like when you're first starting out, they have to know they got to classify you so they can know easier where they're gonna put you. Like, and oftentimes it's like, okay, you might have you can okay, this guy can be a thug, this guy can also be a doctor, and this guy can be a father, a single dad. You feel me? They got some people. It's like you could be a tattoo artist, you could be a military person, you could be a good cop. Like, you know what I mean? They have to know. So when they get the cop TV series, oh, I know it could be a cop. Oh, damn, I know it could be a gangster. You know what I mean? They have to typecast you. You want to be typecast when you're starting out. Your first
Okay.
5, 6 years in the game, even getting auditions for your first 5 years in the game, because my whole first year with an agent, I didn't book shit. I thought I sucked or something. I'm like, damn, like I'm not booking anything for the whole first year and a half. But by the next year, it's like things started kind of coming. So again, you just never know
Yeah.
how it's gonna go, patience and everything. But you want to be typecast your first few years. Now, at a point, my agents were like, okay, there's two things that happened. At a point, my agents were like, certain roles we're not even going to put you out for because we want to expand your shit, which is great. On the other end, if in your auditions, the casting directors over time see your caliber. So
Okay.
let's say you keep getting, let's say you get 3 gangsters. If you bring some
Mhm.
depth, or if you bring some gravitas to those gangsters and impress them, they're gonna look at you like, wait, the casting director gonna look at you like, wait, let me see what this, because they always gonna wild card, because a wild card can get roles, and again, they don't get paid unless they can book people. So they want to give you these opportunities if they feel like you can carry them. So
Mhm.
if you show them okay, let me throw them this. Let's see what they do with it. Then you show your other side when you get that opportunity. From that point on, you will get multiple opportunities once you show them, oh, I got more to me than this. Because there are some people out here that only can do that one thing, and they'll get the opportunity. They can't do it. So
I'll relay it to. So if I follow you correctly, which I'm pretty sure I am. There's a show out here, and for those who are considered like nerds and blurs, there's a thing called Teen Wolf. There was a Teen Wolf series that came out on MTV. One of the actors from the series, he was the one. I think his character name was Styles. He was sort of like the sidekick character, and there was a point in the season to where he gained a role of more depth. He became a villain, but it showed the layers in which he had range to where like it was serial, but it was dramatic, it was sad, and I was like, yo, this guy can act, and I give that credit to he ended up becoming on if there's a few movies. He was in The Maze Runner. So he was the lead actor in the movie called The Maze Runner. The most recent one he did was like American Assassin. And I'm talking about he's doing like karate. And I watched him from MTV to major films to there's another actor who I love his role, but it's the only role I've ever seen him play. He's called Captain or Sergeant Voight on Chicago PD. And I'm pretty sure you've seen it with like they're just flatline, like they only done that. Just like
Mm-hmm.
Ice-T, like Ice-T in Law and Order. You
Mm-hmm.
know, even though I think Ice-T at a point in his time he had more range, but I think he settled because Anthony Mackie, and I seen that you was in a movie with Anthony Mackie.
Yeah, yeah,
Anthony Mackie said it with have you heard or seen the show? I think it's Abbott Elementary, the
yeah.
dude from
Love it.
Everybody. So I remember watching one of the clips, and they said on the money tip, the money's different from TV to movies. Are you able to tell about that in the industry?
All right. The money is interesting. Um, the money is different in TV and film because it worked for the longest time that movies was this big industry. So you book a huge, and still to this day, depending on the movie, you book a big movie, you could get mad paid. But like movies is you do a movie for like 2 or 3 months, and whatever your people negotiated, depending upon your tier of an actor, whether you're A list, B list, whether you're unknown, you have no name. Because again, if you have no name, if you're unknown, they play with you differently than if they feel like you got a name. Like they play with you
Yeah.
way differently when you're unknown. You dig? So,
Yes, sir.
and to a large degree, you learning on the fly. So if your agent works out a really good contract for you for that movie, that's cool. You got paid. TV, that's your job. Think about TV like a 9 to 5. So
Okay.
if you're getting paid at your 9 to 5, 15K a ep, you do 12 eps a year. You know what I'm saying? And that might be
Let me do that
lowballing
man.
it. On some
All right,
people
that's a
get
low
paid
ball.
50K a ep. Some people out here get paid 100K a ep. You see what I'm saying?
Mary J.
See
Mary
what I'm
J.
saying? And that's your day job. You
Yeah.
feel me?
A
If you
12
put it,
episode at 15 is 180 ball.
you feel me? And that was only for a couple of months of work. That's why they say you could get like if you have a certain level of if you one of the leads in TV and that's your show and your show goes some seasons, you're getting paid much different than the cat who did 2 movies that year and it's you don't know what was negotiated or where their role was in the situation. See, that TV
Mm,
money is that guaranteed money, and if you, that's why a lot of people are like, no, get that TV money. You hear me? And if you're in a position where you can do
yeah,
TV and film, because back in the day it was harder because TV had way more episodes. That's gonna be like if you're a TV
they
actor,
did.
you put in like 30 episodes, you don't have the time to go do movies a lot of the times. That's come. Will Smith
Yeah.
had to change. He had to leave Fresh Prince to become a movie star. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different now. Series be like 10 episodes. So you can be on the series for like 10, 12 eps, and then you got the rest of your year to be in movies. So it's a little different. But these
Yeah.
days, TV is a bit more prestigious. So it just depends on your level of actor, what your agents and your lawyers can work out, and what's your position in the project as far as how it's gonna play out.
Okay, so it's a lot like from the music perspective, it's a lot like singles and albums. Movies
To
and
a degree.
albums. Yeah.
To a degree.
Okay. No, man. Man, I done learned a lot. You know what I'm saying? Boy, look,
Bro.
because so to end your point about typecasting, right?
Oh, wait,
So I
like, and
understand.
before we get to that, and I
Yeah.
want to say this too, and you don't realize how much you're supposed to be getting paid until because I've been a recurring character on multiple shows,
Mm-hmm.
right? I didn't find out until maybe 3 or 4 years ago that in a recurring character, for people that don't know, is any character that shows up more than once in the series that's guaranteed to show up more than once, but they might not be the main cast, but they're a character that's gonna keep showing up, recurring,
Yeah.
reoccurring. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I found out that if you're a guaranteed reoccurring character, let's say you're supposed to at minimum make, I'm gonna just throw a number out there like 7K episode at minimum. And at maximum, it could go up to whatever it goes up to. They will play with you differently when you don't have a name, and they'll play with you differently when you're in the South. Because in the
Mm.
South, there's a stigma and there's also a glass ceiling. That's why I had to get an LA manager and an LA agent to get even certain opportunities because you get so high in the South, and then they'll shoot movies and they'll shoot TV in the South, but they will cast motherfuckers from LA or motherfuckers with LA management or LA representation because
Mm.
they feel even to this day there's this stigma of all the real actors are on the East Coast or the West Coast. So they will
Yeah.
play with you. They will play with you in the South different. So I'm on these shows getting paid maybe 2K episode or 3K episode, which anybody is not that might sound great. But when you know I'm supposed to be making this 10, but they play with me and only offer me this 3, and then they be like, well, you need to negotiate the offer. But then when you in the South, if you're dealing with your, like, they ain't gonna play with your West Coast representation the same way they'll play with your South Coast, your Southern representation. They will
Mm-hmm.
hammer hard, tell your down South agent, no, we're not budging at all. We'll just give it to somebody else and play you. Versus, and they might still be bluffing because again, know your worth. Versus, they won't even play with your West Coast agent like that. They will off top offer you more just because I could be living in New Orleans, but just because I got a mofo in the West saying they
Yeah.
represent me, they're going to pay me more. And that's a whole other
Mm.
game, dog. Like that's a game that they don't teach you. You just learn it on the fly as you go. And
So the raw that who were we just talking about? How do you say his name? John that was in Blood Diamond. Um
Blood
what
Diamond,
is that man? That was inspired because we just
Jamahantu
talking
or
about
Jamahantu, yeah.
Right, Jamal Hantu and Taraji and even Monique. They were, I guess, to me, they were right to be the voices of those who may have been voices in the industry to be like, no, the truth of the matter is in the acting industry, we are not paid even us as high end
Even
are not
their
paid.
high end black actors aren't paid as much as the white actors. And as you go down to be not a high end black actor, and like I said, I'm in the South, a Southern black actor, bro, they're gonna play with you. And again, and currently, we talk about very much currently coming off of COVID, and then after COVID, we had
Mhm.
multiple strikes. The industry is currently, and then right now, California's on fire.
Yeah.
Right now, the industry is probably in its worst state. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's in its worst state currently.
So let me ask you this, because I think that this is a big Taylor. What do you think with everything that 50 Cent is doing and that he's opening up his studio in Shreveport, how will that improve the industry but improve Louisiana? You know what I'm saying? As a state, and even the South as an acting hub.
It just depends on what his intentions are. Because there was a point in time, especially when I first started acting, where um Louisiana was producing, they was filming the most movies in Louisiana or whatever. It was New Orleans, Lafayette, no, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Shreveport were like the 3 main spots. And they was finding out because we had no tax credit cap. So they was finding out we could just make movies here and write it all off and get all our money back. And that's what Louisiana let them do. So Louisiana wound up being the #1 move spot to shoot movies in. And then our governor at the time put a cap on that because he was trying to be more fiscal because he was a Republican governor. So he was trying to cater to his constituents. So he put a cap
Mm-hmm.
on it, fucked up our film industry for a little while. And then Atlanta, Georgia as a state adopted what we were doing. And that's why they're $1 billion industry in the South, because they took what Louisiana was doing and say, oh, y'all tripping. And they made it pop like big. So like technically the South makes a lot of money, but it don't get the respect that it needs to get because again, there are no major like the major talent agencies like that have the A-listers are all in the West. They're all stationed in the West. They're
Yeah.
all, the South, we don't have none of
Mm-hmm.
that infrastructure for those people set here. So they still look down on us to a degree, even if they're putting money into this region. So
Mm.
if 50 Cent coming with the mind state of, no, I am casting local, I am hiring crews that are local, hair and makeup, I'm going local. If his intention is, I'm doing this specifically to give local shots, then it'll be amazing. But if he does what everyone else has done from the East and the West, which is come and use everything, use the people, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
use
use
all
how
the
we look,
resources.
the
Yeah.
resource. That's what I'm looking for. Just use the resources. And here's the thing: there's a caveat in all of that where every company that comes to the South, they have to hire so many locals. That's in every contract. It's called a local hire. But the thing is, they don't have to give you a main role. They don't have to give you a big role. They don't have to, you know what I mean? They just have to
Mm.
hire so many people locally. So a lot of times they might let you audition for something that's pretty cool, even if they're in their mind they know they're going with the LA mofo. or they might actually, because a lot of my early career was I was the standout. I was hitting it at early. So it's like, again, I can't shit. Like if you look at my resume, I'm on some cool shit. You feel me? So I can't say it's just this woe is me thing, but for every motherfucker like me that was able to accumulate like 50 credits in the past decade, I know cats I be on stage with that's local, that's amazing, that don't get these opportunities. Like I'm one in fucking 1,000. You know what I'm saying? As far
Yeah.
as who actually gets the, like, who talent wise, that's why it's not always about talent, gets these opportunities. So again, if 50 is really has that on his mind, because even when we went to strike, one of my trepidations being an actor in the South, and luckily, like I said, I have LA representation too, but being an actor in the South was that glass ceiling being looked at. That pay, like again, they'll pay you different. That pay issue being looked at. And the big wigs didn't give a fuck. They really didn't give a fuck about that. So
Yeah, no, man.
if
That's
I ever blew up, just know how loud I would be. Like, you know what I mean, about this
and
topic.
I respect you being loud now. It's sad. Let them know. Like it's a real thing. That's a real thing. And I appreciate the time that you spent with me, bro. I appreciate you coming on the show. I got one last question for me because I'm pretty sure I just want to be honest with your time as well. Um, in your career, what is your most memorable role?
Before I answer that question, you had something about typecasting that I cut you off on.
Oh, yes. Okay, so for me, right? So I've been acting for a year. I was a recurring role, so that's why I said I've learned a lot. But I'm just getting my feet wet. Like I said, this is something that I found I have a passion for. It's helped me in my speaking career as far as reading lines and stuff like that. So there's resources for this, benefits to this. So I'm on a recurring role as a landlord who gets over his head in the streets, and then I ended up getting a new role as a cop. Now, in my real life, like 9 to 5 career, I actually have experience being in law enforcement. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do this. This is easy peasy. And I was like, okay. So when you said typecasting, I probably, especially even to my director, I'm like, okay, so he may or may not typecast me in more roles. It's like maybe a teacher, a cop, you know what I'm saying, versus the dude that I'm playing now, because he's like an in between.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you is is there any way to not get stuck as a typecaster? Because I feel that you say it's good, but for your career and longevity, is that really good?
Again, it's good in the beginning. It's great in the beginning, because the thing is, you can be more than one type. People think, people like that most times, and this is an exercise that a lot of acting coaches give. They tell you to talk to people, friends and family, and ask them what kind of roles could they see you in. Because oftentimes, because that's all typecasting is, like, you might see yourself as this, and this, but to the world, you might present a different way. So that's why asking people how you see me, you think, what I mean, what you would you cast me in, gives you an idea of how they are looking at you. You know what I mean? So they may see you as a cop, they may see you as a teacher, and they may see you as another thing. Those are really three different types that can really get you, that it can get you fed for a minute. And like I said, in my position, my people that represented me for some years, after there was some years of, okay, you're doing this, and this, um, they started they started, that's another thing, your representation got to fight for you. Your representation can talk, telling the casting directors, oh no, let them go for this. Because another thing too, some of the roles you're going to get is because the casting director just typecast you and they saw you as that. Other roles you're going to get is because your agent read a script, saw through a script and was like, oh, I think Bad to be good at this. And then they advocate for you to the casting director. And then the casting director be like, okay, I'll give him a shot. So then when you get these shots, and there's another thing too, in your career, a good way to not get typecast is, again, like, is by showing up anytime they give you any audition and give them something that they're not expecting. You're not gonna
Okay.
always be able to do it, because don't make it seem like I gotta always every audition. What's the most mind-blowing thing I can ever do? But you know what I'm saying? But having that spirit in your mind, because sometimes you might get an audition where there's only one way I can think to play this. And don't beat yourself up
Yeah.
about it. That might just be the best way. Sometimes the simplest answer is the right answer. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But challenge yourself when you get these roles. Is there another way? How would how would I do it if I was in this position? How would I do it if I was in that position? How would Greg do it? Not Greg is like you by an act. I mean, like, if you have a partner named Greg, like go through like different ways you can present this that might be out of your normal body if you've been doing typical things. Because again, casting will pick up on that. There's a point in time where I was only doing dramas. Then I wound up scoring this small thing that led to me getting on. I'm on this Peacock show called Killing It, and I got a recurring on there. And then once they saw I was funny on that, I started getting offered more comedies. So you know what I mean? So you never know who
You
they
just
never
humble
know
with
who
the
you
drip. You
got
like, I'm
until
on
you.
Peacock. I'm like,
Yeah, bro. Like,
nigga.
and I'll be buck when it come. I'm like, what you want me to do? What? All right. And
Yeah.
that I got that joint because again, I've been acting my whole life. It's like I do comedy, I do drama, I improv, I do whatever, bro. So
Mm-hmm.
which if you give me drama, and that's a great thing. If you give me drama, I'm gonna go hard. But if you give me something silly, I'm gonna be the silliest motherfucker. We gonna rock. You heard me? So
Yeah, for sure.
they like the silly ass audition. And from that point, that also showed the casting director what I'm capable of. Because again, you're gonna get rejected more times than you get accepted. And
Mm-hmm.
rejection isn't them saying no, it's them never hitting you up again. That's them. You do your audition, you forget about it. You do your audition, because out of a year, I might do 50, 100 auditions, maybe more auditions, and book 4, 2, 5, 3. You know what I mean? You don't know what you're gonna get because that's not in your hands as much as what you present. So you
Okay.
got to treat every audition as an opportunity to have some eyes on you and show them what you got. And I think naturally, after over some years of them casting directors in your area, because there's always more than one casting director in your area, of those casting, and again, since there's multiple casting directors, one casting director might see you like a gangster, but this casting director might see you like a spaceman, astronaut or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yeah.
So you gotta trust yourself in that. And if you feel like after 5 years, 6, 7, after years in the game, if you feel like you've only gotten one look, then you gotta regroup with your representation and figure out how can we switch this up.
Man. Um, no, this is golden. I hope y'all wrote all this down. I'm talking about from the time we started this conversation. And some of this stuff wasn't even playing. I'm talking about we really just chopped it up. Like I
Don't
said
get me
before,
started,
man.
my nigga.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, this my boy. So again, like the way we met, I knew that I'm like, okay, yeah, bro is 100% about his business, about his viewpoint. He stand on his morals, no matter what it is he's doing. And it was funny because when I would watch your content, you didn't, or from what I seen, uh, you didn't throw your jacket on. You know what I'm saying? You came in the door really giving your ideas and your opinions, but you ain't throw your jacket on like, yeah, I'm in this, I'm in that. This is what I do, and I love that because I learned you as a person, as a man. And then when I unfold all the work you've done, I said, okay, Martin has so much value in this world, especially to our boys in that want to go into this industry. And I was like, man, I'm telling you, just me personally. Hopefully, going into 2025 and beyond, no matter where we go on social media, that you start sharing this more. I think you hold an immense value.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Thank you on that, bro. I'm gonna think on that because I'm not a gatekeeper when it comes to information. Especially, I've always been that person. If I learn something, I want to teach you. I want to tell somebody, hey, peep this.
yeah,
Feel me?
no,
Because
for
that's how
sure,
we
for sure.
really come up. Like what Issa Rae say, everybody be looking up and down. You should be looking left and right.
Man, I done got so many blessings from looking left and right, and I tell people the key to my success, it was showing up. Like you said, I showed up, gave my performance, gave my top tier professionalism, and I left the room, and I gained sponsors because of that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? These other people, when they walked into whatever their high tier, the network that they had, they spoke me up. They said, no, Prince is this, Marcel do this. Hey, if you got a role for him, hit him up, or here's his resume. And I was like, okay, see, my work is paying off. And I think that we have to reiterate that to a lot of people who starting out, because they'll get stuck in like, man, I'm not here. I ain't hadn't hit this tier. And I would explain that to new in our era. I would explain that to new content creators, because they would think that they need to, man, I ain't blowed up. I've been doing this for 30 days. I say, sweetheart, you only been doing this for 30
30
days.
days.
Like, what do you mean? You thought we got these viral moments more than once, or we amassed this tribe of people who really follow us and love our content and stuff like that from 30 days? No, this is 3 years of even listening to them. You know what I'm saying? Studying that lane, and how do I give the information, or how do I correct this skit to, steer them in that lane. Like, this is a real craft at that point. And I respected the fact that they did start to acknowledge us. You had the Dizzies, you had there was a few people from TikTok, Tabitha, you know what I'm saying? You had a few people that was like, no, the people who are in the social media age, even though they're starting to roll into the entertainment industries as comedians, actors mainly, um, they have value. This is a part of their training. They have put some work in, and you should respect that. You know what I'm saying?
It's
So
all a
yeah,
journey, and I stand by that. Like, people be obsessed with destination and time. Nah, bro. Once you decide that my journey will be this type of artist or this whatever this is, you just gotta stick true to it. And when it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, you still gotta know I did what I want to do.
for sure, for sure. So with that, I'm gonna tell you, thank you, man. Thank you for being on View of the Kingdom. As always, we just here to spread wealth, wisdom, and understanding, and the contributions, especially that we have as Black people around the world, that we hold value. You know what I'm saying? That we are here, and that we are going to be the leaders of the next generation. That we care for the next generation, for sure.
Hell yeah.
All right, peace, brother.